I'm Mel Stewart, and this is the GMM Podcast. Joining me today, Torri Huske, 6-time Olympic medalist, coming off a great Olympics in Paris, a great year this past year on the run-up to World Championships. At the training camp, she's one of the athletes who got sick and battled and struggled through Worlds. She says she could have handled some moments better, and some moments she's pretty proud of herself. Most notably, that Medley Relay, the final event of World Championships where the women broke the world record. She unpacks that swim and she talks about the future because, of course, her coach at Stanford, Greg Meehan, is now the national team director at United States Swimming, and she's going to be swimming under Chris Lindauer. She talks a little bit about Chris and what our expectations are going forward. This is Torri Huske. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. I immediately have to say, DeBoer is on your shirt. You're coming in hot. You're dropping your partner. Full disclosure, SwimSwam works with DeBoer, so I do like seeing that.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we work with DeBoer, and they've made some big moves in swimming. But they've signed a lot of athletes. But when they signed you, I knew they were being serious because they've been around for a long time, but they hadn't been in competitive swim. But you signed on. You're an athlete. Can you share? Are you going to be with them through 2028? Is it short term? Is it long term?
Yeah. I definitely will be with them at least through 2028, depending on how long I swim. Maybe longer. I don't know. I think 2028 might be my final one, but you never know. So yeah, I'm really excited to have signed with them. I really like them so far. And yeah, they're a little bit newer because they were in the triathlon sphere before, and then they kind of transferred over to swimming. But yeah, I'm really excited. They've been really fun to work with. And I have some exciting stuff coming soon with them also, where we're going to be collabing. So I'm very excited.
How much can you share? Or is this under the cone of silence?
I don't really think it's that secret, but I've been working a lot on prints and stuff. So I've been drawing a lot.
Oh, okay. So you're actually working on designs, and we may be seeing those designs as SKUs for DeBoer. That's interesting.
Yeah, with practice suits. So I've just been working on some stuff in general. So I'm excited.
This is my first time interviewing you. I'm excited about it. Is this something that you love to do? Are you a designer? Is this a side hustle?
Yeah, I've always been pretty into art, and I'm a design major at Stanford. But the thing is, the design major is more engineering. It used to be from the School of Engineering, and then it was such a popular major that they made their own D school. And taking the classes, I thought it would be very mechy based because it does overlap with some of those classes, but it feels more entrepreneurial. So I don't really know what to classify design as, but art is just something separately that I've always been interested in.
Okay. Well, I would love to go further into this topic. Maybe we will later on, but if we don't talk about World Championships, people are going to be really mad at us. So out of the gate, some people have been disclosing, hey, I was sick. I wasn't sick. Did you get sick? And if you did, what was that experience like?
Yeah, I feel like I was in the middle wave that got sick. If I'm being honest, I think probably 90% of the athletes got sick. It was pretty rare to not be sick at all or have any signs of illness. But I was in the crew that had to stay back and travel a day later because I got it the day before, 2 days before. And yeah, it was tough. I'm not gonna lie, but I feel I learned a lot during this meet, and I definitely could have handled it better, but it could have been a lot worse. So I'm happy with the result. Overall, I think that if people could see what our team was going through, they would be very impressed with the way that we handled it. So I am very proud of myself and the team for staying positive and pushing through. And there were a lot of people, myself included, have had some really rough races, but then there were a lot of people who were able to bounce back after that. I had a terrible morning relay split in the 100 fly, and I could have just taken that and been okay, I'm going to have a terrible meet the rest of the time. But I was able to kind of turn it around, and even though I wasn't going best times, I was able to be a little off my best, and I was pretty happy with that.
You said you could have handled it better, and I know that when you have a tough swim right out of the gate at a big meet on the world stage, there's emotions around that. So your 100 free was, I think it was a 52.89. Is that what you're referencing?
Yeah, I think so. Individually, my third place finish.
Yeah.
I know it was still off my best time, but I think it wasn't 3 seconds off in a relay, which is ridiculous. That shouldn't have happened. But I think that I was able to turn it around and put in as much as I could give.
Take us to the moment when you actually experienced those. So you've been sick, and we've heard from athletes, and they described some pretty horrific. It sounded a little bit barbaric.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what that kind of sickness is like, which is like, this is not what you want to be experiencing for World Championships. But you have that experience, you feel that way, and your strength is coming back slowly. It takes time, more time to recover once everything is resolved, because it's never 100% resolved. You see that time. What are the emotions? What's going through your mind?
I honestly don't quite remember. I was just very relieved to have made it on the podium, especially since Gretchen wasn't there. Like, she pulled out. She was also feeling not 100% during the meet, and she wanted to like prioritize like the longevity of the meet with other races and stuff, because she was racing a ton. And so I feel like the pressure was really put on me, like as the only American in that event, to make it on the podium and medal for my country. So I was very relieved when I saw like the block light up. World Champs is a slog. It is a marathon. You have the sickness. It's right on the cusp, and then you're recovering as the meet goes, as you go through the meet. How were you feeling better day to day? And at what point did you start to feel like, okay, I'm going to be all right? Yeah, I think it was a little up and down. Like, the day I had like a really bad swim, like I would not have like been on the relay if I had known I felt that bad. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't even aware that I was feeling that bad in a way. Like, I feel like I was kind of out of touch with my body a little bit during that meet. So sometimes I would be really swimming slow and it felt like normal. Other times I'd be swimming slow and it would be slow. So I was just like not 100% in touch. I think food was definitely a big issue for me, because I was like really nauseous. Like, I'm someone who like at the end of a long meet, like I'm already probably losing weight by the end, just with like the stress and accumulation of like your events and warming down, warming up, and like the lack of sleep sometimes that you get when you are in doping control at night, and then you have to wake up early for a prelim session. Like, it's just like meets take a lot from you. So I'm already someone who kind of like loses a little bit by the end of the meet, and to start already with like food fatigue at the beginning of the meet, like that was very tough for me. Like, I will force down my meals, but like it gets to a point where like you can't force it down because like you're afraid you're going to throw up. So it was kind of a like delicate balance a little bit.
No, everyone was describing a kind of a horror story. Are you someone who, a lot of athletes will describe, Olympics, world champs, and they're like, I'm always dealing with some level of digestive issues, or I'll get a cold during taper before. Dressel's like, I always get sick. Like, I finish the meet and I go home and I always end up with a cold.
Yeah. After a meet, usually a lot of the time, like 50% of the time, like I'll be sick afterwards, just because it runs you down so much.
It takes a lot out of you. So that's interesting. And it puts sickness in the spotlight. And this, I know that this was particularly bad. You said you wish you'd handled it better, or there could have been, looking back, maybe you could have handled it better. How could you have handled it better?
I think the mixed medley was really, really bad. I wish I could have either like told them and stepped out that like I wasn't ready to swim that. Something of that sort. Like, I wish I had been like more in touch with myself a little bit.
I can tell you that fans and coaches, everyone was Monday morning quarterbacking a lot of what was going on. And there were a lot of people who were kind of nasty about it. Like, this is world champs, step up and give it everything you got. And I'm like, we don't really know exactly how sick everybody is yet. And I think it took a period of time for people to really realize how bad it was. Because it felt, we didn't hear from Greg. He didn't make a statement. He made a statement. We were kind of got a sense of it. I'm so glad he did, because oftentimes it's kind of the USA Swimming way not to say anything. So I was really happy that he stepped up and said, hey, this is going on. In professional sports, if someone has an injury or they're sick or something, like they say it right at the front end. So I like that was disclosed. But and now I feel like we have much more understanding.
Yeah, I feel like we didn't really want to talk about it that much during the meet, because we didn't want to make it sound like we're going into it like already making excuses, and we still wanted to have the mindset that we could put together a really good meet. And I feel like if you're like constantly talking about sickness and stuff, like that can kind of like take away from it a little bit. And yeah, we kind of wanted to like have a more like positive image, but I feel like afterwards we could be a little bit more like truthful about what was actually going on.
Tell me in this Herculean effort that was made, were there any high points or anything that you were like, okay, I like this world champs. This is what I take away from this world championships, and it's positive.
I mean, camp was really fun until it wasn't, if I'm being honest. Like, that was one of the most fun camps I've had before. We got to visit like an elephant sanctuary, and it was really cool seeing them. And like, they treat the elephants like really well. They're all like rescues, and like they basically just feed them and shower them, and then they kind of just like vibe there. So the elephants were really happy. It was really cool seeing that. Thailand was nice, the little bit that we saw. And yeah, we went to like a really fun dinner as a team. So I feel like that was a really good bonding experience for us, and also like the trauma bonding afterwards. But yeah, I had a lot of fun also with my roommate, Caroline Bricker. It was her first meet at Worlds, and I felt a little bit bad for her because obviously this isn't the experience that you want to have your first time. But I do think that no one's first international meet is usually perfect. Like, it's very rare. So hopefully it can only go up from here.
A lot of folks were very angry that we had the training camp in Thailand, because Thailand is like, in terms of sickness, you don't want to go there in July and August. And then there had a lot of people, everyone had a lot to say about the elephant sanctuary. And then it's also come out that in the coaches committee, a lot of people were saying, a few coaches said, don't go to Thailand. They were suggesting camps in other places like Tokyo, because it was controlled and they felt like it would have been a better outcome. But it's interesting. You're like, hey, we bought it and it was fun.
Yeah, I also feel like what's the saying, like hindsight 2020, like it's so easy to look back at it and say like, don't go here. I'm sure we won't go there in the future, if I'm being honest. Like, we probably won't. But it was fun until it wasn't. And I mean, like, it's very easy to look back and say that you shouldn't have done something. So yeah.
Well, we have to ask everybody who's on the Medley Relay, you have to talk us through the Medley Relay, but I also have to say this. If you could just sort of shovel a deck and everybody could swim any race that this magically appears, would you still win? Because I kind of think there's so much talent on that women's 4x1 Medley Relay. Maybe that would be the case. That had to be a high point. That had to be a great way to finish. And to tell me about the relay, but tell me, like, I already know you're like losing weight, you're stressed, you're tired. How are you doing walking out for that event?
Yeah, I was really excited for the women's 4x1 medley, especially since like the night before, 2 nights before, I don't remember, we had set the world record in the mixed 4x1 free, I think. And so I feel like having that under my belt and having like a decent swim there, I was like, okay, I can put together a decent swim here. And I was also kind of aware that we would be right on record pace just with like the women on that relay. They're so strong, like you just said. And honestly, that's my favorite relay of like all time, like the 4x1 women's medley. And it was also kind of cool because this was our first like next gen relay. Like, it was all like, I feel like younger people, which is like, it's just like crazy to think that like now we're like the veterans, because I don't really look at myself that way, but I guess now we are. But yeah, it was like Kate, Gretchen, Reagan, and me. So it was just weird to think about like how far we've come and like how much we've grown up. So it was very exciting.
This is a dominant relay. This is a anchor, star turn. This could, a history books type of relay in this quad on the run up to LA 2028. Like, this is one place where U.S. fans can really plant their flag. It's got to feel good to be a part of it. I have to ask you this, you're at Stanford, Greg's been your coach, or you have a change in coaching. Are you back in training now?
Yeah, we just got back maybe like a week ago. I start classes actually this upcoming Monday. Stanford starts really late because we're on the quarter system, but I think even compared to other schools on the quarter system, we start extremely late. I know other people have been in school for like a month, but we just got back on campus. I literally just moved into my dorm also this week. So we're still like, we all just kind of finished decorating our rooms. We're going to decorate our common room later. So I'm excited for that. Maybe hit up like the store and get like a lamp and some other things that we need today. But yeah, it's been really fun being back on campus, kind of settling into things. And this feels kind of like the calm before the storm, with like school starting and everything like ramping back up again. So it's been really nice just like bonding and like meeting the freshmen. We just went to Tahoe also this past weekend just for like a day. And I'd never been before, and it was beautiful. So it was really fun.
No, it's beautiful. But Greg is now our national team coach at USA Swimming. He's taken a big leadership position. A lot of people feel it was badly needed, and I think on balance, everybody's very happy that he's there. But he was your coach, and now he's not day-to-day going to be on deck. You have Chris Lindauer, and you're a week and a half in. So this is a new relationship. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, obviously things are like still very new, but I really like Chris so far. And I also really like Annie Laser because she is our new assistant coach. And I feel like it's a lot of like really good, like new energy. Like it's definitely a change, but I'm very excited to see how this year will be different. We had our team meetings this week, like individual, like meetings with the coaches, and we were going through my schedule and stuff for like just like my week day-to-day like training plan for the week. And mine is pretty similar to like last year. So it's nice to have like some familiarity, but there are like a few changes and stuff. So I'm excited for those.
It sounds like you're bullish, you're excited, you're happy, and you're good with the change. I'm guessing that Greg is going to have some collaboration with Chris after you've had some.
I'm sure.
Greg.
Yeah, I think that's also probably why my schedule is so similar, is because what I've been doing has like for the most part been working so far. So we're going to kind of continue with something very similar to what I've been doing. Like you don't want to completely change something that isn't like broken. Yeah, I know Chris and Greg have been talking. I mean, Chris visited us when we were training at the OTC before Worlds, like before the camp. We had like a little like mini camp at the OTC where Rick and I were training with Kim and Greg, and Chris visited one day. So I know that they've been talking and that I'm in good hands between both Chris and Annie looking out for me, and also like Greg from afar and Kim from afar.
So no changes, no surprises. We're gonna keep seeing the same from you heading into NC2As.
I mean, I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a little bit ahead because we missed a beat. I snooped your social. Drop your Instagram handle so we can let everybody know where to follow you.
I think it's just Torri_Huske, most likely.
Well, you know what? We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna put it on screen right now. We'll timestamp it. But it looked like you took a pretty cool vacation. Where did you go after Worlds?
Oh yeah, I went several places. I went first to Bali, and then I went to Coron in the Philippines. And Coron was literally the most scenic place I've ever seen in my entire life. Like it was beautiful. And we stayed on a houseboat, which was really cool. There are no like hotels or anything in Coron because I think only the indigenous people can live there. But there's like some rules where like houseboats, they're like, I guess not on land. So we were able to like stay in those accommodations. And it was really cool. It was like zero waste, and like they all had solar panels. It was like no AC. And we had to like sleep in a like little mosquito net thing each night, but it was like really fun. Like I really enjoyed it.
No, it looked beautiful. It looked like it was a lot of fun. And I know almost everybody took off and had a vacation. It looked like everybody was having a good time. And how much time did you get off total?
I had 2 weeks where I was like completely off, and I was just like traveling abroad, like in Asia. And then I had like a week where I was like getting back into it. And then I actually had a second mini vacation where I was swimming a little bit during this and like lifting a lot to like kind of build back my muscle that I lost. And then I went to North Carolina in the Outer Banks with my friend Mac from high school. And then I swam for another week at home and then went to Stanford.
So you're back. I have not talked to you since, you had this huge star turn in Paris. And I was just curious how your life has changed since the Paris Olympic Games. And it's hard to believe that we're already a year in. We've already got our World Championships under our belt on the way to LA 2028. But how did your life change after Paris? Now that you can look back on this past.
Honestly, I feel like it feels very similar to how it did before. Like, I feel like I'm kind of just doing the same things. Like, I'm going to practice. I see the same people for the most part. And like, I'm going to school. So if I'm being honest, like it feels very similar to how it did before. Like every once in a while, like I feel like a couple more people will like recognize me and like ask to take a photo. But for the most part, it feels pretty much the same.
How often do you get recognized?
I don't really know. Strangely enough, I feel like there are a lot of people abroad. Like I'll almost get stopped more when I was like traveling abroad than like right outside of like Stanford's campus. I feel like people at Stanford don't really care as much, honestly. But yeah, I don't know. Probably like I got like maybe stopped like maybe like 4 times on vacation. I don't know. In like the Philippines and like Bali and stuff.
It's funny. Everybody says kind of the same thing. If you ask this question, it's like, yeah, I'll get recognized outside of the United States, but inside the United States, no. However, I've traveled with Rowdy Gaines, and every so often I'll see Rowdy, like, we walk into an airport and Rowdy will be recognized because he's been, he's been doing because he's been announcing since 1992, officially
It's a
since
long time, yeah.
he also did it in 1992, so he's been doing it forever. But yeah, that's kind of interesting. When you're looking, you're still undergrad, but like when you're thinking about this quad, do you feel like Los Angeles is looming large in your mind, going to domestic Olympics, racing in front of the hometown crowd, or is it like that's filed way back there? How do you feel about it?
I mean, it obviously is like the main goal coming up. We got these stickers that like Greg handed out at the meet, and it just has like a little compass and then like 28, because that's kind of like our goal for the next quad, like what's going to be like guiding us, like our goal to LA 2028. But it felt very far away. But now it's starting to feel a little bit less far. Obviously, we still have a lot of time, but I am excited. But I think that I like to, in general, focus more on like short-term goals, like NCs this year. And then they announced the team already for this summer. So kind of just looking forward and taking those like baby steps before I focus on like the big thing.
I'm really curious as to how Pan Packs are going to roll off, because it's. I think there's going to be an extra zhuzh. There's going to be more to that event, and it's also a dry run. We're going to have, you're going to know what it feels like to race in your time zone on the biggest state of the year, which is like, that's a huge advantage. You'll be training in Palo Alto, and then you're, Pan Packs 2028. I think having that time zone training advantage is huge, actually. I don't know if you thought about that.
Yeah, I thought about it a little bit. What I've thought about most about like the time change thing kind of, and like LA is where we're going to have camp. I'm kind of curious to see. And I wouldn't be surprised. I like keep thinking like Stanford's facilities are like so nice. Like I think we have the best pool in the world, or pools, because we have multiple. But they usually like to choose a place where you have like multiple long course pools, because I mean we have a ton of swimmers swimming from the US. So I would like it here, honestly. I think we have a really nice pool. But I feel like it'd also be weird to be at camp in a place that I train at every single day.
I think you'd want a little bit of a change, but God, that is such a nice facility. I've always loved it when we've had nationals there. It's done well. It's fun. Yeah. But we'll see. Who knows? We're gonna know soon. Yeah. Have you heard from the new CEO of USA Swimming? Because we've got a new CEO who's been might have been calling older athletes, but some have been saying, yeah, give me a phone call. So eventually you'll probably get your phone call. Let's keep our fingers crossed. So I do have to ask you this. You're undergrad, your design at Stanford. What do you see for your life beyond that? Because you mentioned it slipped. You're like, LA 2028 might be my last Olympics. Have you thought that far? Like what you'd like to do career-wise?
I honestly, I have no idea. I've thought about like what different exercises like I want to do throughout my life. But like as far as like career path, no idea. I do know that ideally I would like to co-term at Stanford. I don't know if this is just the Stanford thing. I mean, a lot of people do like 5th years, but we call it like co-terming, because then you get your master's in 1 year and you get your undergrad at the same time. I would like to co-term in sustainability, most likely. I mean, I feel like bridging design and sustainability would be really cool. I don't know like what jobs I would do specifically related to that, but I feel like it opens up a lot of doors. And it's like something that I am like pretty passionate about, is like our planet and like its health. So I would like to help a little bit with that in the future. And then after, hopefully, most likely, I'll co-term next year. And then after that, I would have like a gap year. Although it's not really a gap year. I would be done with school, where I just train. And I see now why people go pro. I'm like, when I took my gap year, it was awesome. Like I did nothing all day, and then I just like show up to practice and hang out with people. I was like, it was so nice. Like I felt like I was living like on like easy mode. Like it was awesome. And so I'd have a year of that where I kind of just hang out with the team, do whatever. And then I assumed that I would probably want to like start the next chapter of my life without swimming afterwards. I really like the idea of like moving to San Diego and like getting really into like surfing. I'm like terrible right now. I went a little bit in Bali and I'm so bad. Like my friend had a Whoop, and it tracked how much like the activity, and it was like 30 minutes of surfing, and then it was like actual surf time, 3 minutes. Like we were really, really bad. And we were like self-taught though. So I feel like maybe with some lessons that would be better. But I also don't know, like it's so easy for me now to say like, oh, I think maybe I would be ready to like move on with my life, but maybe I won't be ready to like let go of swimming. I mean, I've been doing it since I was like 5 competitively. And before that, I was like in lessons and stuff. So it's been a huge part of my life that I don't know if it would be as easy for me to let go when it like comes down to it, or maybe I'll miss it. But I mean, we'll see. I can't really think. I'm not someone who like looks really far into the future, and I'm not a big planner. I'm very much like, even like for my weekly schedule with like school, it's like we'll have that sent out and I'll literally look day by day. Like I don't look ahead of time. So I like to take it one step at a time.